Joining me today on Impact Catalyst is the CEO of Workforce Development Partners, Yvonne Fry. Welcome.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me today.
So let's start with as we do, quick 101 on WDP.
Absolutely. We are a nonprofit based in Hillsborough County. We have a couple different signature programs. We'll spend most of our time today talking about Future Career Academy, but we also have Best Florida Jobs. And just a quick synopsis on each. Future Career Academy, we are the workforce development partner for the Hillsborough County School District. We serve 37 high school career and exceptional centers throughout the county with curriculum and events, with a mission to prepare and connect students to great jobs and training opportunities. And with Best Florida Jobs, that's the adult portion of what we do. We've got a ton of resources, and of course, we've got all these great employers and training opportunities. So we pull that together too. It started just as an extension with families, and then the fullness of it is out to communities, those that we serve throughout Hillsborough County.
And what's the genesis of the organization? How did it get rolling?
I love that question because every day I look in the mirror and say, who am I to be doing this? And I really believe that each of us are uniquely prepared and positioned for kind of that journey that takes you along. I'm a Plant City girl. I don't know if you can tell from the accent. I'm from the east part of the county. And there's a lot of growth going on. And we were in the process of starting our own economic development corporation and thinking about what does our future look like. And one of the core tenets, one of the core aspects of economic development is public education. And we, as leaders in our community, started thinking about that. And we leaned into our public high school, Plant City High, and brought together community and business leaders to just how do we support? And it was so interesting. A second meeting of that, January 2015, one of our largest employers, Hardy Manufacturing, they make Hardy board, own 80% of the global market share. They said, how do we get in front of seniors before they graduate? And that started the process that we held one job fair at Plant City High School. The businesses went nuts for that. They loved every bit about it, and they saw the potential. And if you fast forward to today, like I said, we now serve the entire school district. Over the past 2 years, we've built proof of concept for a whole school district with deep end curriculum, these experiences all leading up to, the opportunity for students to find placement and launch their careers. It's been a windy road with COVID and everything else in there, but it's been amazing. And we now are poised for growth outside of this county and are, really contemplating how do we grow with fidelity to take the magic of what we do and translate that for other individual students in other locations.
It's an often under talked about element of economic development, which is growing your own versus always just thinking about recruiting new talent and new companies in. So you started with the job fair. So there, early elements were matching students to potential jobs. It sounds like some actual programming and curriculum has come in. And so how did you decide what kind of curriculum you wanted to develop and how you wanted to do training? And then what's sort of the mix between what you do yourself versus what you import and partner on?
Well, I appreciate you asking that thoughtful question also, because again, at this point I sit in the seat and I'm certainly in the workforce space and we have quite an impact with really funneling the largest pipeline in the region into work. But it's been a journey. And all of that, just like what I just described around the genesis of our work, was from local employers. Every bit of our content for curriculum and our events and experiences has all been spoken into existence because of our employers saying, hey, have you ever thought about this? Or these kids need to know that. And we listen. We always have a parking lot. We continue to generate new content, additional work to address what the businesses see as the gaps. And that, to me, is the real magic in all of this, is that the employers stay completely connected. At the end of every school year, we do in mid-May, so this is as school year is really and truly ending, we do a business strategic planning session with some of our employers to sit down, report out what we did, how did it work, and then we do that feedback loop for them to give us feedback. We facilitate that, and that really drives us forward with improvements, additions, and has was really critical in the last 2 years. We took we're embedded in senior English classes for our core curriculum 1 day a week all year long. There was so much more curriculum. We started building the rest of this, and it was so amazing because now we are ninth through 12th grade, and in all the career and technical education courses as well. And that was a monumental step, but it was because businesses kept saying they need to know this also. They need to know this and preparation and, on and on. So it's been quite the journey, but it's all been through the input and feedback and support of our employers.
So what are some examples of some of the things they may learn in that once a week, 1 day, or 1 period a week class?
So in the English classes in their senior year, if you think about, students, like, we want to help prepare, we want to make workforce and those decisions similar to the process for college. So we want to put formality to it. We want to really elevate it. And we start out with some things around budgeting so that they have framework. What does it cost to live in your market? And helping to make sure that they understand that. We talk about aptitude next so that, we just got off a call with Chase. And they have call centers here that are full of kids that were told in school, you need to be quiet. But they talk all day now because that's how they're wired and that's what they're going to be successful with. So helping students think about what is it that makes them special and that they enjoy, and then that there's a career path for that somewhere. And so then we talk framing on this is how to make more money. We never say school or training. We always talk about building a career and how to make more money as you do so. And many times that comes through upskilling and your additional learning that can happen. And the second part of that framing is really around rewards and benefits of what makes a quality company. And think about, empowering students to think about they're in the driver's seat and they get to choose. And we want to help all of our companies to aspire to be the employer of choice. So what's your culture like? What are your rewards and benefits? How are you investing in building careers? And what does that look like? So you build loyalty. When employers talk about retention concerns, well, what are you doing to address that? So that's our initial framing, and those are all lessons. Then we go into industry exploration, and there's 16 industries that Tampa Bay EDC has identified as what's thriving with great growth trajectory, living wages, all of that. We really do a deep dive, learning about those industries and those employers here, and then we move into professional development. And inserted in between those, we do business panels in the fall at every school. So after they start to learn about there's opportunity, we put diverse industries in front of them to start to connect. As they're doing that industry exploration, they're preparing to go on our business tours. We'll move about 3,000 kids over 8 days starting next Friday. We've got a month of 8 days, and we move kids to all different business stops. It's amazing to see the light bulb go off as they really are in the environment, meeting team members, seeing what really clicks for them. And then that professional development all precedes our hiring events in April. So they're learning elevator speeches in addition to how to dress, interview skills, preparing their resume, how to follow up. All those things are all lessons. And those English teachers just love it. They are, we meet English state standards, so they're not compromised on what they're doing, but it's really meaningful that they can bring these lessons to the kids. So it's exciting.
So a couple of interesting nuances in there, nuances but important points, is that you sounds like you're just more shaping mindset and shaping perspective than you are saying just driving to an additional next step of school training or whatever, and just presenting those as one tool in the toolbox towards what can be a fulfilling career.
Yes. And we work, for instance, the Hillsborough County School District leads the state in career and technical education courses and certifications. We just need to help build better bridges and help surround these kids with that preparation and connection into their workforce, because they're coming out with a lot of skills and they're hungry to know and to learn. But there was some gaps there that, we all knew, and we've just leaned into those things. And those are universal. We're talking to surrounding counties. We're trying to figure out what our next steps are for growth and expansion. We want to do that with fidelity. We want to make sure that we're ready and that we can deliver equitably to those kids. And it's a universal need. for industry and for students. And we're getting poised, ready for that growth, and are excited for what's coming. It's amazing, how this translates. I've gotten calls from all over the country. It's a very unique model of what we're doing, very unique. And we're excited for all that's ahead. Sometimes I get a little afraid, and you just got to keep walking boldly and bravely of what you know is right, and just keep moving forward.
And then do you fall into the same sort of funding umbrella as the Tampa Bay EDC? A lot of times they're a mix of public and private money. How are you funded?
Yes. So our funding, when we initially started out in Plant City, it was me. This made sense. I love my community. I love my school. And we just started to build this, and we set up the nonprofit and invited the employers to get involved as well. And whenever the school district asked us to really expand, they put some additional dollars towards it. And we've been really blessed over the last 2 years. Hillsborough County, the BOCC, has been a funding partner that really allowed us to build the fullness of this program in the seventh largest school district in the country, and to have this proof of concept at this point. And so that funding has ended. We're leaning into our development plan. We are, continuing to build that. Last night, I was so honored to be awarded one of the Lightning Community Hero, which comes with, of course, recognition for our program, but also some dollars. And we're just grateful for the community support that, is rallying behind this, not only financially, but the year-over-year program participation. If you think about those business panels, business tours, hiring events, and to cover this huge county, we put our employers through the paces. It is a very robust schedule that we ask them to, because, if you've got a footprint and can hire in all parts of this county, how do you choose between Northwest and South County? I want you to be present and offer your great opportunities to each one. We've got a lot of localized places. Like if you're a manufacturer, we want local accessible jobs. So I'm not going to offer that, to somebody in another part of the county that it doesn't make sense for. But we ask a lot of our employers, and they are so enthusiastic, and we're really grateful for that. And that's a big part that, isn't the money piece of it. But when I look at how many hours people put in, and I want to give one example of this. Our business tours, I mentioned, each of our lunches are hosted by a government entity. Earlier this week on Monday, I was out at the stadium in Plant City. They have about 100 team members that were there to do a dress rehearsal, practice their speeches, go through the lineup, everything for that lunch. And they are still practicing and working, which of course to them is team building, it's professional development. But the man hours that people commit to in order to present well and engage our kids, that is, it's remarkable, the support and partnership that we have.
So it sounds like, with the emphasis you're putting on understanding different jobs and making connections with good companies, I'm assuming you talked about the light bulb, where if they have these sort of innate qualities or these innate interests, and they can just find that path forward, or even something to connect into, it really then it's just full steam ahead. Is that a fair assessment? Really lights them up and gets them moving under their own power at that point?
Many times, yes. And many times, as you know, life takes twists and turns, and life can throw so many things at us. And one of the things that we seek to really embed with kids is to know that they live in a community that supports them and believes in them, and is here to support them. And that is part of that resiliency factor that has to be developed and enriched and supported. And it becomes a mindset. And so no matter what happens, you can navigate through it. You move with hope and intention and so on. And those are things that we realize also that is a value that we bring. And I talk about the consistency of our employers and so on, showing up for these kids multiple times through that senior year and building trust. So there's a lot to it. And I'll share an example. There was a young woman that had gone on one of our business tours from East Hillsborough. I think she was from Riverview High School, and she was on a college-bound path. She went to visit Volkswagen of Brandon, and came home that night and told her mom, I don't want to go to college, traditional college. I want to go to trade school. I want to be a diesel mechanic. So she went to diesel mechanic school in Hillsborough County. She was valedictorian of that class. She was moving through, and her mom let us know this like after the fact, and that she'd been doing well. And then I checked in with her mom recently, and her mom said, well, she's working at a grocery store right now because what she really wants to do with the dealership, she has to have her CDL. And I'm like, and I said, why is that? She said, because of her age. She's not 21. And I said, well, let us see if we can help, find a spot for her. So, you just think about the twists and turns and what they don't know of how do you overcome these obstacles and connect with this to get to there and so on. And we continue to do that through their journey and are here to support them both in high school and beyond, because they don't know what they don't know. And there's tragedy, there's challenges, there's setbacks and so on. And helping them understand and have that mindset of resiliency and just not giving up, not stopping. You got to keep pressing forward. That is, I think, as important in this day and age as anything.
And it sounds like just a couple tweaks here or there can really change the trajectory of a life. Just something, a little bit of knowledge and or a little connection made can make such a huge difference.
Yes. Yes.
So if I heard correctly, then this is going to be a pretty pivotal year for the organization, in that you said the initial batch of funding is run out, and you now are leaning into a new development plan, and you're going to have to go out and make this happen. How are you feeling in dealing with all of that? And you even talk about expansion as well. So, what's kind of the path forward in that regard look like?
Yeah, I 2025 started out strong. Like I said, thanks to the Lightning for their support and recognition. We have so many incredible partners, and many of them we brought on and said, trust us. This is what this is going to look like. We need your help to be building it as we fly it. And being able to have those conversations now with those employers who have been great partners with us and elevate their engagement, their sponsorship, and so on. Those conversations are going really well. I am so thankful to have a strong player on our team that can shepherd that, make sure that we deliver on those partnerships, because that's really important. It's not transactional, it's relational. It's making sure that everybody wins in those equations. We're deeply committed to that and making sure that we understand those unique opportunities with each employer and how to best position those and so on. All that is going really, really well because we've laid a great foundation. And from the growth perspective, like I said, we're having conversations. I just want to make sure we do it right. And this all comes back down to those that we serve. This isn't growth for growth's sakes. This is about the kids and their families and what this can mean of building strong communities. And I take that really seriously. And it's a heavy weight that we carry to say, let's make sure we think through everything. We build this out. We have a plan that is sustainable. No false starts. We always like to under promise and way over deliver. And that's what we're focused on. And so we're going to do that in the right time, in the right way, and don't have, a reveal today on those next steps. But there's a lot happening that we're really excited and eager. We move with urgency on things, but we also want to make sure that everything we do is impactful and sustainable.
Sounds like it is. Sounds like a very important program. And yeah, I love, obviously, the EDC model. Good companies understand that that's an important part of their health, and what you're doing is no different than that. And so they should be all about supporting you. Wonderful. Well, I love learning about Workforce Development Partners. I can tell you're bringing a ton of energy and thoughtfulness to it, and maybe we'll have to look at an equivalent in St. Pete at some point, and our side of the bridge.
We're excited for that. Pinellas County has so much great industry and a great support system there through the Education Foundation for our schools and our kids, and just being able to leverage that. That's one other thing that we're thoughtful on, Joe, is that there's so many people doing a lot of great work already. And if we can make sure that none of us are siloed, that we really work and integrate together and are thoughtful about how we build the reinforcement and the layering. These are all the same kids. Shared outcomes is really important as a mindset. And I'm really excited for whenever it is time for us to come to Pinellas. I can't wait because there is so much opportunity there for students, and we want to make sure that they're prepared and connected to all of that opportunity.
Yvonne Fry, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.